What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Hands On channel, and today we're going to talk about a little bit of good news. It's pretty rare that I'm able to post anything good on the Hands On channel because it's usually negative news are the headlines of the day. So today I was really pleasantly surprised to come, and after my day of work I came in and looked at the news and I was just like, oh my God, this is bombshell. So just in from Gateway Pundit, court rejects FDA request to release FOIA documents over the next 55 years. And if you remember a couple of videos ago, I mentioned that in passing in one of the videos that what do they have to hide? Why are they trying to suppress this information on what all happened during their trial phases and stuff? I mean, why is it that Pfizer is trying to keep the public from being able to see this information? That right there raises a lot of eyebrows, at least in the circles of people that I move around with. So we're all really concerned about, what is this? What's in these documents that Pfizer is so scared of that they're trying to suppress this information from being released for 55 years? Most of us will be dead in 55 years, so that's no good. So on Thursday, a federal judge soundly rejected the FDA's panicked request for permission to produce hundreds of thousands of documents related to the Pfizer and the Cova V's at a rate of 500 pages per month after the agency was ordered to comply with the Freedom of Information Act, a FOIA request, last month. So the FDA's unbelievable request would have allowed them to take an unbelievable 55 years to produce all of the documents. I mean, in what other line of work do you get to do that? You get to say, oh yeah, I'm building this gadget over here, but I'm not going to let you guys know how I did it or what the side effects are or any of the things like that for 55 years. I mean, that's unheard of. It's freaking unheard of. So Pittman's decision was this, and I'm quoting him here. Accordingly, the court concludes that this FOIA request is of paramount public importance. Stale information is of little value, and I agree with that. The court, agreeing with this truism, therefore concludes that the expeditious completion of the plaintiff's request is not only practicable, but necessary. To that end, the court further concludes that the production rate, as detailed below, appropriately balances the need for unprecedented urgency in the processing of this request with the FDA's concerns regarding the burdens of production. So this guy, federal judge, I believe he's out of Texas, just smacked this whole thing down. I mean, smacked it down to the ground. And it says here are some of the rules and conditions that the judge laid out. So number one here, the FDA shall produce more than 12,000 pages articulated in its own proposal, see ECF number 29 at 24, on or before January 31st, 2022. So at the end of this month, Pfizer has to produce more than 12,000 pages. And if you've been following this, the first 500 pages that they released had some real doozies in there and some real consequential long-term side effects, even up to death, which is the ultimate long-term side effect. I mean, number two, the FDA shall produce the remaining documents at a rate of 55,000 pages every 30 days. With the first production being due on or before March 1st, 2022, until production is complete. Wow. Considering what we just got out of the first batch of documents, which was just 500 pages, you can bet there will be some damning data coming soon. So I look forward to that. And you guys really need to pay attention to this because the media is going to suppress or not report on, which is the same thing as suppression. They're going to not report on these findings when they start coming out. It'll be, places like the Hands On channel and other places like, I've actually been watching Russell Brand here lately, and unbelievably, that guy has, I don't know if he got a hold of a whole bottle of red pills or what, but suddenly Russell Brand is actually basically asking the right questions. And not too long ago, I don't know if he was consider himself a libertarian or just a left-wing activist, but not too long ago, the guy was pretty staunchly left-leaning. So this is a big thing. And another one I've noticed on YouTube is Tim Pool. I used to not be able to stand Tim Pool. When I first started hearing about him on YouTube and stuff, I'd go watch him and I was just like, okay, this guy is like an SJW with his beanie on all the time and stuff like that. I assume he's bald-headed, and people have accused me of that, so let's break that right now. I am not bald-headed. I just choose to wear a hat like an old-school American man would do So anyways, I like them. I like the way a hat makes me feel. And when I go out in the sun, which I'm out in often, it blocks the sun out of my eyes, which is great. So anyways, Tim Pool has also like taken a whole tablespoon of red pills or something. I don't know, but they have been on fire. Tim Pool and Russell Brand, people that I would not have recommended 2 or 3 years ago, now I highly recommend because they're talking about the real stuff. So apparently Tim Pool got swatted a couple of days ago, which when I first read that, I was like, what does this mean? A SWAT team came? That's what I automatically assumed. But apparently that's a term. I don't know where the term they originated from, but it's basically a term that indicates someone falsely called in a police report and the police suddenly show up at your house, whether it be the SWAT team or in this case it was 2 detectives. So apparently Tim Pool is pissing off the right people and the left have basically learned to sick the police on him. So that's very interesting and kind of an aside on all this other good news. So I guess Tim and Russell Brand and a couple of these other guys are finally over the target, and that's great news for all of us because they have a lot of reach. That's the really, really big thing that YouTube basically suppresses people. And the way Tim Pool and Russell Brand, both of those guys, structured their channels, they brought in a lot of people that were centrists. And I can't do that on this channel because I am too conservative. People pick that up when they watch my videos and stuff like that, which is why one of the reasons I started talking about politics to begin with is because, you know, hey, if someone's going to constantly accuse me of pushing the conservative narrative, then I might as well do it, right? So the next story here, this is from Breitbart News. Sonia Sotomayor. Why can't OSHA regulate a human body like a machine if it's spewing a virus? She literally really said that. Why can't OSHA regulate a human body like a machine? She is equating you and me and every other person and human being on this face of this earth as a machine, or at least in the United States. And it's like she's totally forgetting the part about, you know, liberty and individual liberty and, you know, the right to free expression. I mean, we have all these other things that definitely set us apart from machines. I mean, you could argue, I guess, scientifically that we are a chemical type of machine and it's just, you know, electrons and stuff firing around in our brains and such, but our Constitution guarantees us rights. These are unalienable rights. It's hard to say that. Inalienable rights, let's say it that way. Meaning they can't be taken away by government or the Supreme Court or anybody else. But yet Sonia Sotomayor dares to compare people, the human body, to a machine. Unfreaking believable. So the Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor compared the human beings to machines when commenting in favor of President Joe Biden's V mandate for businesses with 100+ employees on Friday. Here's her quote. Why is a human being not like a machine if it's spewing a virus? Bloodborne viruses. Sotomayor asked Scott Keller, the attorney for National Federation of Independent Businesses, during an expedited Supreme Court hearing regarding the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA's coronavirus mandate. So, unfreaking believable how dumb this lady is. Of course, she was appointed by Obama. The justice also said the OSHA mandate is not a V mandate because of the masking and testing option. Oh, so it all makes sense now. It's not actually a mandate for the V because you have other options. The only problem is, Sotomayor, a lot of companies are still firing people if they refuse to get the V because they don't want to have to pay for the masking and the testing option. So is it really an option when your employer is telling you, hey, you got 30 days to get this thing done or else you're fired? No, it's not an option. So this is complete bullcrap. So I'm trying to not cuss here. So this is not a V mandate, she says. There are costs and deaths and other things countervailing to the fact that there might be 1 to 3% of workers who leave. Bull malarkey. It's way more than that. Just on an independent basis of people that I know, it's way more than 1 to 3%. A lot of people are leaving. When you put the screws to employees like that, for one thing, a lot of these people, I've had them come into the comments and stuff telling me that they've been working for companies for 16, 20 years, stuff like that. Do you know how betrayed you feel when suddenly your boss comes to you after 16 years of loyalty and hard work, and they tell you that you're no longer welcome there because you're unclean, you're deemed unclean by the federal government, and this is not even officially passed as a law or anything? This wasn't voted on by Congress. This wasn't voted on by your representatives. Where do they get the authority for this? They don't have it. It doesn't exist. They're materializing it out of thin air. They don't have the authority at all. That's why they put it this way. That's why they set it up this way, where there was still a mask option or a, take weekly testing option and stuff like that. But the reality is these companies are not going to pay for this because it's all about the bottom line. So on to the next story here. This is a fact check from Breitbart News. Justice Sotomayor claims that Omicron just as deadly for unV'd as the Delta. That's pretty interesting because everything I've been hearing is exactly opposite of that. They're saying that the Omicron is actually not deadly, it's just highly contagious. So let's look into this verdict. False. While Omicron is highly infectious, deaths and hospitalizations have been less frequent than for the Delta. So this woman is in one of the highest, definitely the highest courts in the land, and she's spouting this idiocy on record? We've got a real problem here. We've got a real serious problem here. It's called, libtardism. I don't know what you want to call it. It's these people on the left that have just totally lost their freaking minds. I mean, they are unbelievably, openly fascistic, socialistic, communistic freaking tyrants. That's what they are. So anyways, the verdict is false. Sotomayor is being criticized in social media for making several factually dubious claims during the oral arguments. One of them was she claimed that the Rona deaths are at an all-time high, which is complete BS. It's not true. Number 2, Omicron has been deadlier than Delta. False. Number 3, claimed that 100,000 children are hospitalized with the Rona right now. False. According to the records, it's like 3,300 children. But, that doesn't suit her argument for the reason we have to have this thing that's outside of the Constitution being regulated on businesses all around the country. She said that OSHA's regulatory authority is a federal police power. Well, that's interesting because I don't remember reading anything about OSHA anywhere in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights or anything else. So OSHA is a modern creation. They don't have federal police power. Unfreaking believable. Hopefully, the conservative justices on the Supreme Court, I read another story, and I'm not going to quote anything from it, but I read through this other story earlier, and several of the Supreme Court justices that are conservative are saying, hey, there's a lot of problems with this V mandate. And it's looking like at the end of January, this thing's going to be a done deal. So my condolences to you guys that have lost your jobs already, or maybe you quit your job, or I don't know, maybe you were run off from your job because your employer was a sorry sack piece of human excrement. That's why. They didn't care or appreciate not one bit all the hard work, all the times you got up not feeling well and came into work anyways and went ahead and put in your 8 to 10 hours in that day or whatever. They don't give a rat's ass about you. That's what they told you if they fired you for this stuff. So I guess in the long run, you're actually better off because you wouldn't want to be working for a company that's going to treat you that lowly when the chips hit the fan, because that's what this is. No one has actually been forced to do this yet. These are employers voluntarily implementing Biden's V mandate ahead of schedule so they don't get caught up in the legal fees and fines that come along with not mandating the V. Unfreaking believable. So I feel bad for you. I know how it is when you work for a place for a long time and they fire you or they let you go or make you move on. Not because of something like this, but yeah, I have been fired for speaking my mind in the past. Surprise, surprise. So anyways, I know how it feels, and I do feel bad for you. But just know this. Every single time that I've ever been fired, I've ended up working out a better solution for myself, starting my own businesses. And in both cases that I've been fired, I started a business after that, and I was better off for it. I was certainly more free. Maybe not more rich, but more free. And arguably That is a type of wealth. Freedom is a type of wealth. Enjoy it, use it, spend it, or else they'll take it away from you. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I hope you found maybe a little bit of hope in the news here today. I don't like coming on and always talking doom and gloom stuff all the time, so that's been the reason for the last couple of videos, this one included, is that, you know, it's depressing to watch this stuff, watching your country that you love being destroyed right in front of your eyes, and very few people even doing anything about it. And I'll just leave you with this on the way out here. My wife and I watched a clip last night on YouTube of Tucker Carlson just shredding Ted Cruz. And while on one hand, I'm saddened by that. You know, I voted for Ted Cruz before, during the primary. I didn't want Trump at that time. I thought Ted Cruz was the answer. And I thought he'd been a great president because of his debating skills and, just his history in Congress. But he actually called the January 6th rioters, I guess we'll call them. He called them terrorists. He's claiming that he calls anyone a terrorist that attacks the police department or whatever, but I call BS. Tucker called BS. It was probably the best Tucker Carlson interview I've ever seen. I mean, Tucker is for real. He's putting the screws to these guys, and he's in a position of power to do it. And, you might argue, you should never attack your own people because it just hurts your side. But no, we need to do that. We need to weed through this stuff and make these people, if nothing else, maybe it'll make Ted Cruz pull back on that talk. Maybe he'll reevaluate and go, wait a minute, they're right. The left has been controlling the narrative for the past year on January 6th. So anyways, guys, I just want you to go check that out. It was the best interview I've ever seen Tucker Carlson do, and he completely annihilated Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was sitting there with his mouth open as he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe that Tucker Carlson was giving him hell like that. Good job, Tucker. We all need to do that. We need to give them hell. Hold their feet to the fire, even if they have an R by their name or whatever. It doesn't matter. Hold their feet to the fire. This is America. Land of the free, home of the brave, right? We, the people. This is our government. It's time we start acting like it. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I stand for liberty. I hope you do too.